Okay, we'll call the regular city council meeting to order Monday, August 14th, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Michelle Otto.
David Paradise.
Kirby Moyna.
Nicole Andrioff.
Jessica Bonniwell.
Jared Vogie.
Dan Reamer.
Michael Sommerfeld.
Invocation, Pastor Ryan.
I did email him.
Okay, we'll move on to the Pledge of Allegiance then. Over there. I pledge allegiance to
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
approval of the agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Further discussion? I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Approval of the consent agenda.
Michael, I just have a quick question on the consent agenda.
Yes.
What's the council travel expenses for 4/20/61?
I'd have to pull the receipts. I believe that was Councilmember Solar's, went to the conference in Duluth.
Okay,
Yeah, mileage reimbursement for that.
okay.
I think that would have been the hotel and mileage.
This is gonna sound kind of crazy, but can we like change that then? Because right now it looks like council. Can we like itemize it?
To just put specifically Councilmember Solar's name on it?
That's how it used to be done?
Oh, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want that going forward or amended before this one?
Forward,
Okay.
that's fine, thank you.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Motion passes 4-0. Wright County Sheriff's Office.
Evening. So, not from the city standpoint of like what's been going on, looking through the reports and everything, there hasn't been anything of major note of or consistent problems in the city of Montrose the past month, from what I can tell and remember. We have had, it's the summer, so I will say have been pretty busy, but we haven't had any consistent problems, let's say, of one consistent person or someone damaging X consistently or anything like that I recall. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. And then to address the new ordinances, we've been fully informed of that, and we will be enacting it. Personally, myself, I've been driving around to check the trailer, or I forget what it's specifically called, the recreational vehicle one. Already educated one person on it and who was fine with it. So we'll be continuing to actually enforce that, and it is in our system, so we can actually cite for it. So, and then we are up to date on all your other concerns from that workshop as well. So, any other comments or questions or anything else I missed in terms of issues going on in the city?
Oh, thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Wright County Law Enforcement Contract.
Mayor and council, this was in the packet. We have talked about this at a workshop, and Councilmember Paradise and I attended a meeting with the sheriff. I don't know if you had any more questions. Otherwise, this is up for approval this evening. For consideration for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the Wright County Law Enforcement Contract.
I will second.
Further discussion? I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Request for council action, Mitch and Kay Siglowski.
And state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Mitchell Sigleski. My address is 335 Dakota Avenue South, Montrose. And I am asking for some help in with the construction that was done on the streets. The yards were all torn up, reseeded. I went ahead and watered my yard. The truck that drove by would always skip me because I put down my own seed. I don't know why they skip me. I mean, we're still paying for them to water. They should have been watering, and they didn't. But that's besides the point. What I'm asking for is that the water that I actually put on the yard, that not to have to pay the sewer and wastewater treatment for that water. I'm not asking to not pay for the water. I want to pay for the water. I mean, I used it. I'll pay for it. That's not the point. And I used the city's average for my water usage for those 2 months, June and July. And if my spreadsheet makes any sense to you at all, that I don't know if it does or not. But for the month of June, I used 4,841 gallons of water on the yard, and that would equate to $25.66 for the sewer and $24.45 for the wastewater. And then for the month of my total water usage for June was 10,537. And like I said, I took the average of 56.96, which is much higher than any of the other months of water that I used. For July, we used a total of 24,355 gallons of water. And again, I took the same average, the 56.96. That means that I put 18,659 gallons of water on the yard. And that obviously water that went on the yard didn't go down the sewer, didn't go to wastewater treatment. And those totals were 98.89 and 94.23 respectively for sewer and wastewater. And what I'm asking is that if I can get my bill reduced by those amounts, I mean, if, as you can see on the last sheet I put on there, I put our water bills for the month, and June was $199.30, and July was $451.39, and we're on a fixed income. We're both retired. That's makes it a little tight, to say the least. So any help that we can get from the city would be greatly appreciated. And I don't want to waste any more of your time. Do you have any questions?
Why did you seed it yourself?
Because I put down the low grow, no mow seed. So I don't have to mow the yard, and it only grows so high and then it stops growing. And I wanted to use that kind of seed rather than what they were putting down. That's the reason for that.
Okay.
Christie, are those, by chance, do you know the calculations on that, how, if this is, did you have the same numbers, I guess?
I didn't break it down, but I provided him with the breakdown of his averages and things like that, so he could come up with that formula. He did bring it in today, and I looked through it, and it looked accurate to me.
Okay.
So Dan, how do we determine what actually went down the drain and what went into the yard?
I think he explained that by taking his average usage the months prior. That'd be the best way you could do it. That'd be pretty much the only way you can do it.
Well, without a second meter, right?
Without a second water meter, yeah.
Is this, what have we done on this type of question in the past? Do you know, Jess, by chance?
If they're watering and they don't have a second water meter, they pay for those charges.
If I recall correctly, within the last 2 years or so with when Wayne was here, there was a gentleman where we did construction, was it out in?
It was out in Forest Creek, I
Creek?
believe, yep. Patriot
And-
Circle, yep.
Right. We seeded it, but they had to
They
water
were
it.
required to water it, and
They even asked to hook into the fire hydrant that was over there, and that wasn't even okay to do that.
Yeah.
So,
So without the second water meter, that's just kind of been the typical policy has been to,
yeah, because there have been other people within the project area that have asked similar questions, because they're also trying to water and they do not have second water meters, so,
I understand where you're coming from. You know, it is a pretty significant water bill. But the city did decide not to assess properties. So that could have been a huge cost also.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It just opens up Pandora's box, is what it
Exactly,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, we understand your situation 100%. It's just, when you do it for you, we do it for the next, we do it for the next, we do it for the next, and it's an
understand.
endless cycle,
I
and
understand.
unfortunately, that's where we're sitting at right
Yeah.
now. That's kind of what we all feel for you 100%. You know, I mean, I water my lawn and I don't have a second meter either.
I've since pulled the sprinklers. I am not watering the yard anymore, and I never will again.
I mean, we can definitely work out a payment plan, you know.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you call up Christie, she's more than willing to set up something with you.
Okay.
Yeah, that way there's no late fee increment or anything like that. We can,
Yeah.
we can definitely.
I don't hear very well, so everything's an.
they just said it, if you work with Christie at City Hall like you have been, they can set up a plan.
Okay.
Yeah, no more late fees will incur even, it'll just, moving forward, whatever plan you set up with Christie, you won't have any type of late fees at all, so,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, sir.
because this was a request, I need a motion to deny.
You need a motion?
Because it was a request.
I will make a motion then to have, what was the last name?
Siglowski.
Siglowski, work with Christie to set up a payment plan to take care of the bill with no late fees reoccurring.
I will second that.
Further discussion? Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Motion passes 4-0. City Council.
Want me to start? I went to Park and Rec, City Council meetings, a couple chamber events, and multiple Celebrate Montrose meetings.
City council workshops, regular city meeting, special city meeting. Met a couple times with the city of Waverly, fire department meeting, and EDA meeting.
Had EDA, council workshop, special council meeting, League of Minnesota Cities meeting, and budget meeting at City Hall.
City council, workshop, special meeting, and Park and Rec.
Fire department.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet is the July 2023 activity report. Pretty busy month with 34 calls for service. Some special information. So we did our annual hose testing last month. We tested 9,151 feet of hose. Out of all that hose, we only had one section that failed. That took us a total of about 10 hours to do, or close to about 10 hours with various firefighters. And a huge thank you to all the firefighters for that work. It does save the city quite a bit of money rather than having a company come and do the testing for us. And then we also had Willie Bauerschmidt come out of retirement and help us that day. And Bruce Peterson and Steve Hayes were also there for part or most of the day helping us out. They were just walking by and decided to help, so we appreciate their help. So
Willie can't stay away.
Willie can't stay away, so yeah. Other than that, that's all that I have for you unless you have any questions.
Thanks, Kevin.
Kevin?
EDA.
Yes, we met on, was it July 18th? Talked about a few different things, but I want to say the biggest thing was basically our discussion on what we can do as far as getting childcare and kind of looking into that. So we've, Sonia has been working very hard on meeting with First Children's Finance, working with them, seeing what they need. There will be an announcement, I believe, in the newsletter coming up, basically in order to get a commission to figure out what the needs are, what we can do, what, you know, little steps here and there that gets First Finance to help us out to hopefully find a solution to our childcare needs in the town. That was the biggest update from that meeting, I'd have to say.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a big hurdle, that they want a task force of 15 people from the community to be together for a year before they'll even come in and meet with you.
Yep. So it will be a big undertaking, so they'll, like I said, look for some of the information in the newsletter coming out.
Planning and zoning.
Mayor and council, the Planning and Zoning Commission met on July 12th. We mainly discussed the preserve development and the 2 development proposals we have received for that. It seemed like at least 3 of the members of Planning and Zoning would be interested in going with the J.P. Brooks plan as a recommendation to council. They did not make a formal recommendation, but 3 people definitely said that they would be in favor of that plan. So that was pretty much the only discussion that we had that evening.
Okay. I guess I forgot to ask, any questions for EDA or planning and zoning? City engineer.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. First item in your packets this evening, last Tuesday, we received 4 bids for the 2023 street improvement projects. The bids range from approximately $462,500 to $528,400. The low bid was submitted by GMH Asphalt, and they're out of Chaska, in the amount of $462,505.25. And there is a resolution in your packets this evening to award the contract to GMH Asphalt for your consideration.
Are there any questions for Jared on this? I will make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-23, accepting the GMH asphalt bid of $462,505.25.
I will second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, I'll vote aye. Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. 4-0, sorry. Sorry.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. Second item in your packets this evening is Highway 12 water main replacement between Garfield Avenue and Emerson Avenue. As council may recall, over the course of the past few years, there have been multiple water main breaks in that section. Speaking with Public Works staff, it's definitely, that water main is definitely in need of replacement. It's currently a 6-inch cast iron pipe. And as the breaks happen and are repaired, it continues to move down the line. So in the event council wants to get that pipe replaced, we are recommending that you would pass a motion to authorize the preparation of plans and specifications. That would occur this fall, the plans and specs, project bidding during the winter, and then construction could start as soon as spring or summer of 2024 for that segment of pipe. We have spoke to MnDOT about potentially incorporating that into the Trunk Highway 12 2025 improvements project. However, they've indicated that they would like that done prior to the project. And quite frankly, I don't know if it would be a good idea to wait either with the number of breaks that we've seen on that line. So council would like to proceed with plans and specs. Motion would be in order to authorize them.
Yeah, what did we have last year? 2 breaks last winter, or was it 3?
3.
Yeah, and staff's nervous, just kind of trying to limp through this winter and hope that nothing catastrophic happens, but yeah.
And then every time you had to shut down everybody around there.
I believe
It's
there's
usually
been
the coldest, most horrible day.
6 breaks on that in the last 7 years, 8 years, on a 2-block span.
Needs to get done.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the preparation of plans and specifications for the Highway 12 water main replacement project.
I'll second.
Further discussion? I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Next item in your packets this evening is regarding the Highway 12 project, which I alluded to earlier. MnDOT is planning a mill and overlay project in 2025. And 2 items ultimately for council discussion this evening. One, as it relates to lighting improvements. the replacement of the existing lighting on the north side of 12 would be an option as part of that project. However, MnDOT does have a cost participation policy that indicates that they would only participate in 25% of the costs associated with any lighting improvements. And along with that, staff has identified the need or potential for improved intersection lighting at Clementa and Zephyr Avenue. So that's kind of the first piece of that. The second piece is relative to some ADA or Americans with Disabilities Association or Act improvements, replacing the existing PED flasher at Center Avenue with a rapid rectangular flashing beacon, RRFB. Those are the ones that you've seen in other locations that have the flashing lights. There's a push button when people want to use it. The lights come on. When it's not being used, lights are off. And then also discuss the potential for installing that at the intersection of Garfield Avenue. And there would be an opportunity for some bump outs at those intersections to help with those pedestrian improvements. So kind of twofold, one being the lighting and number two being the pedestrian improvements in those locations. Ultimately, MnDOT wants to know whether or not that any of those items should be incorporated into the plans. If there's lighting improvements, they'll require us to submit lighting plans for them to incorporate into their project. But wanted to have the discussion with council and see if that's something council's interested in, that staff should move forward with at this time, whether it be one or both or neither, so.
Do we even know roughly, ballpark, how much the lighting itself would cost?
It's pretty spendy when we did it for the project.
Yeah, I mean,
It was pretty spendy when we did it for the project this, last year, so I would assume it's gonna be on par with that.
So I want to say it was about a $130 or something like that.
I was thinking it was $1.2 million, so. For the lighting, right?
I don't remember.
I believe so.
$1.2 million.
It was up there.
Yeah, it was up there.
I mean, I think the flashers is 100% something that we need to look at. And can we get additional funding with the flasher stuff, with the safe routes to school? Or can we not because we already did that once there?
I thought they weren't putting more money into safe routes to school. So that'd be something, I guess, we'd have to look into, but,
And then the Garfield one, what direction would you be going with that?
Across 12.
That's what I thought. Do a lot of people cross there?
well, I think I know people have requested that from us just because of the location of Dollar General and stuff, and then they have to go all the way down to, Center to cross. So if they live right across the street, or up, to the west. Very convenient. This is just a possibility at this point, just something that's been possibly suggested and for pedestrian and safety improvements in that area.
Yeah, well, and I completely agree with needing just anything extra to get somebody's attention on Highway 12 there crossing Center Ave, because I've sat there.
Even with the flashing lights, it's sketchy.
I've sat there and watched people on the other side of traffic just keep blowing right through. They don't care if the person's in the crosswalk or not.
So my concern with that section is how fast people are going in general. It's what, 55 right there? 50?
You're talking Garfield,
Yeah, it's
Garfield
50
and
at
12.
Garfield right now.
So, I
if
mean,
they slow down.
if they slow down. That's
One of the items on our proposed capital improvement plan that was a carryover from the previous plan that was left undone it was the Highway 12 streetscape, which I believe included lighting. And that was left left on there because it was pending this project with the state, I believe.
And this project's been delayed several times, yeah.
So that was a project that was supposed to piggyback off of there, so this, we don't have an approved CIP yet, but this is one of the pieces of that already planned expenditure that is yet to be finalized, but discussed. So it would, just for context, if we're looking at the numbers earlier, this would be part of those numbers, or, you know, not in addition to the CIP you've been looking at.
Would it, I mean, let's say we put that crosswalk out there, I mean, is there any chance we could petition the state to change that to 30 through that area? Because if we have a crosswalk at 50, I just don't see good things happening.
Right, because they have a crosswalk at 35 that they blow past at
yeah.
probably about 50, so.
I think with that, I mean, don't you have to pay for a study before you can do that?
Yeah, so the way MnDOT sets speed limits is they do traffic studies, or speed studies, I guess officially is what they're called. I mean, certainly we could have a conversation with MnDOT about that. They typically do the study, and they typically take anywhere between 12 and 18 months to do that. I would anticipate that they would likely want to do that following construction rather than in advance, given the close proximity to when the project's going on and when the plans need to be done and things of that nature. But it's certainly something we could ask them.
And that's generally a pretty spendy process to pay for a speed study, right? Because we've had the conversation about it on Clementa before as well.
Well, I think so anytime a speed study is done, I mean, most of the time they're requested, hoping that the speeds go down. Speed studies do at times also increase speed limits as well, so that's the risk. And I believe, if I remember correctly, we were trying to be careful what we asked for in Clementa.
As far as Highway 12, I can't remember when it changed to 50 through there, because it used to be
45.
slower, yeah.
45.
Okay, 45, yeah. I can't remember when that was even done.
5 years ago?
4 or 5 years ago,
Yeah.
and that was a speed study in hopes of getting that whole thing 35.
And it backfired big time. Okay,
The whole thing, so that was one of those risks that they're talking about that
yeah.
you take.
Yeah, I just don't, I see a need for it, but I just don't feel comfortable putting in a crosswalk where it's 50.
Where it's
No,
50
that
miles an
fast.
hour.
People are definitely going 60, you know, it's not.
How about the lighting and the flashers?
I mean, the lighting I'm not against. I don't, I'd like to see what it would be, obviously, see what it would be before we made a move on it,
Cost
but
on it?
it also doesn't hurt that MnDOT wants to put in 25% of that cost and pay for part of it, so when's the next time we're gonna have that opportunity?
Okay, so we'll provide a estimate for the lighting, the decorative lighting on the north side, the intersection improvements, and then the flasher at Center Avenue.
Sound good? Okay.
All right, the final item I have this evening and in your packets is regarding a drainage concern that was raised at 200 Crystal Lane. We did do some investigation out there. That particular lot does have a low point in the backyard with no outlet, meaning the water sits there until it either infiltrates the ground or evaporates. We have identified 2 potential solutions associated with that drainage concern, and those figures are in your packet this evening. The first one is the reconstruction of some sidewalk and curbing in that location to prevent any street water from entering the yard and flowing down the sidewalk as it currently does. A couple things with that: an easement would be required, a street light would need to be relocated. with that option. The second option would consist of installing a inlet in the rear of that yard and connecting to an existing storm sewer a few lots to the west, navigating through the existing drainage and utility easements, and that would provide an outlet. So option one reduces the amount of water getting there. Option two would include the installation of an inlet to remove the water from that location. So those are kind of the two options that we came up with once the concern was brought to council, and council directed us to investigate some potential solutions for that problem. So I've not prepared costs for either of those yet. I want to make sure that council continues to want to move forward with researching this and identifying a solution. In terms of timing, if council directed us to identify some costs associated with that, I'm not going to promise that anything could be done in 2023 with it, but certainly it would be an option for 2024. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions regarding the two potential solutions, and certainly would be open to any direction relative to investigating further and providing costs associated with those.
If you did the drain tile option, that would also require the neighbor signing onto that as well, because it would have to go through their backyard as well, correct?
So currently that property has existing drainage and utility easements in that location. Of course, we'd want to notify all of those property owners that there'll be work going on in their backyards, and it may be a little intrusive. However, the city does have easements in place and permission from each individual property owner would not necessarily be required, but certainly we would inform them if that's the direction council took.
Is this issue something that was caused by construction from the city?
So
I just want to make sure it's not like the other drainage project that we're working on.
no, so based on what the elevations that we've obtained out there, it does appear that water from the street is physically entering this property from a previous project, and I can't recall what year that was potentially, but whenever the street was reconstructed there, it does appear that some of that street water is entering that property and flowing down the sidewalk. So it's completely different
Yeah, I just
than
want
any
that
other
record, yeah, for.
backyard drainage concerns we've had in the past.
When this project was being done, why wouldn't the specs have been looked at so that this didn't happen?
That's a great question. We were not here at the time.
Chuck, when was this project?
I believe it was 2021.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was just a few years ago.
But when they started construction, I also gave you a copy of this report that was done in 2011 by Bolton and Mank. Total different game plan. This is not the plans that were implemented when Emerson was redone.
So those are the plans that were originally done. Why is it different?
Because you had a different engineering company come in.
Oh, we had.
That was when Wank was
Wank
here.
came in. Yeah.
Well, that's what happens sometimes when you change engineering firms.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be okay seeing some numbers, I guess, on both options, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta see numbers before.
Anything else?
Do you want a motion?
Based on, just a quick question, just based on the kind of preliminarily looking at it, if drain tile was installed, would that affect the location of where the shed is? Not that that would make a difference, because we would probably go with the best option for us, but I'm just curious.
The existing shed on the property you're referring to?
I would assume it would go along the back of the property.
There's already a drain tile in place.
It would require an inlet, yeah. So we could be flexible with that. I mean, the property owner obviously has requested that something be done, and I'm sure he's cooperative in the
I was just curious, so. Yeah, I'd like to see numbers on the options.
I agree.
Right, I'll bring that back to a future meeting.
Thanks, Jared. Any other updates for us, Jared?
Not at this time unless council has questions of me.
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Park and Rec.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, City staff. We actually had 2 meetings since the last time you guys met, just because of the timing with the holidays.
Overachiever.
Yeah. We hope to have the park and trail plan completely wrapped up to look at a final version at our next meeting. So that I would say reasonably, we are either going to have a finished version to you at your next meeting or the one after that, in case we have to redline anything at our next meeting and make changes. Prairie restoration over at the Rolling Meadows Regional Park. Planting has been completed. So that is looking good. We did get some Carver Field. We were looking at Carver Field as far as replacing fences. The field itself, it's unfortunately been neglected for a long time. The one estimate I saw was $90,000 for the fencing alone. And the last estimate I saw for the fields was $40,000 to redo the fields, or the field. We can obviously keep looking down that path. I know that Michelle has helped with, there's a possibility for a Twins grant. Unfortunately, I think that maybe covers 10%. And so it was brought up and asked whether or not we had funds that were originally earmarked for regional that would still be available or not. That was more of an exploratory, trying to figure out what is available to us and what is not as far as making those upgrades. We do have 5 or 6 park benches going in from the Lions Club. We're going to have 1 or 2 over at Rolling Meadows, 2 at North Ridge by the hockey, where the hockey area is, and 2 going in at the disc golf course. There was talk of our fall event, and we were going to ask council. Now, this is obviously pending the upcoming event for Celebrate Montrose to get an idea on the need. If they would cover the porta potties, one being a wash station, one being handicap. We're looking at somewhere between 5 and 8 porta potties. Can't give you an exact number till we see how it works out this next weekend. I think that is all I have. So we'd be looking for a motion, if possible, to get our porta potties covered.
I'm sure the city would cover the porta potties, but we just, we'd have to know how many and
Right.
Yeah.
what the cost would be.
We're guessing 5 to 8. I don't want to use more than necessary.
Do you need different spending allocations at all?
At
For
this
your
time,
fall
no.
event? No, okay.
I don't believe so.
I don't necessarily want to just give a blank.
Well,
No, and we can update next month too.
That would
mean,
be
we're
enough
looking-
time to order porta potties?
That I don't know. I don't know how much time we need to order porta potties.
How many are you guys using for Celebrate?
Oh, I think we're using like
I think they've got
What was
8
your
and a
bid?
handicap.
Yeah, we have 7 in handicap and 3 sani stations. Michael, do you remember? Because it went straight to the city.
For the
It was like
invoice for the
12 or 1,500?
For Celebrate Montrose, what do we spend?
Invoice for Celebrate Montrose for the porta potties, I
Yeah.
think it was under $900.
I would just,
Okay.
I'll make a motion that to approve for spending on porta potties no greater than what we spent for Celebrate Montrose. That should cover it, correct?
Yeah, because you guys are doing less than us, so.
Yeah, it's, ours is 6 hours. I don't want to overspend on porta potties for sure.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Further discussion on porta potties? I think that's a good plan. I don't, they'll spend half that, I'm sure, but. Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
I have nothing else unless you guys have
Any questions for Toby? How did everything go with the installation out there?
From what I heard, it went fine. They're going to check back 30 days. I believe it was like the 7th or 8th. They,
We got the berm all done. That's all handly done, so I think it's gonna look good.
Whether this be a little bit for, Toby mentioned some of the financial questions as far as the Carver Field goes, or whether this is more informative, whether it's for him or for council. They're on that CIP when we went through line by line at our workshop, not today, but previously, to go through the previous CIP and then add onto it. I believe there was a line item that had been Carver Field. It previously on the previous CIP was Carver Field concession stand. And I think we amended that to Carver Field improvements with a fairly large target of $200,000 just penciled in when we hadn't had that discussion. But I do believe we put that out to 2030. That's where it was. That's very preliminary, but in the vein of some of our earlier discussion at the workshop, if now the Park and Trail Plan is, in its final stages, at least to inform us whether or not that would be more of a priority than the regional park expansion, that could be something we could amend before our next draft with ABDO in the CIP, so we could allocate, now that we have numbers, and again, if it's Park and Rec's recommendation that, we've made this investment to make the regional park wildflowers, and now we want to realign funds that have already been put aside for the regional park, that's all on council. If council wants to make those changes, with that CIP final approval, we could start adding those items or shifting those items with ABDO, especially if there's grants to be had and the timing of it.
I think moving forward, it should be a bigger priority than 2030, only because with discussion with community ed that goes out there every year, that infield is just horrible, so there definitely needs to be some improvements out there.
So that could easily be one thing that right now, when we're projecting those tax rates or what, the timing of things, that could be brought forward, and as far as, then whether it's council's ultimate decision, but if it's Park and Rec's recommendation that funds previously allocated for the regional park, that is a park development fund. So if we're talking about redeveloping the facilities we have at some of our current parks, just, make those decisions.
It would also need to be listed as a priority on the Park and Trail Plan.
yeah, I can honestly say without having other members here that after we went the wildflower route, we knew we were not going to be doing improvements at regional for at least 5 years. And that was a minimum. We were talking much further out in our meetings.
Okay.
Nothing else? Good.
Thanks, Toby.
No, thanks, Toby.
Thank you.
Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Page 78, I kind of broke down the quotes to make it easier because they were even confusing for me when we got them. We actually got 3, but the last company pulled their quote at the very end. What this is manhole repairs and some intersection repairs felt needed by the Public Works Streets Department before winter hits here. A lot of this is adjusting manholes back down that have raised and fixing some, I think there's 3 major intersections. I had the map, but it was huge that they wrote on. I didn't feel like I wanted to put it in the packet, but, this is a budgeted item. You guys allowed me to budget, beef that budget up last year to do things that we feel needs to be done. Currently in that budget is $100,000, and I don't think we've spent a dime out of it yet, so I'm looking for you guys to approve one of the 2 bids here so we can move forward and get these repairs done before the snow flies.
What intersections, Danny?
I know one of them is 5th Street in Dillon, no, 7th Street in Dillon for sure. There was 2 other ones, but I'm not completely sure. I don't remember off the top of my head. I kind of let the plow drivers decide.
And the plow drivers did bring some equipment in, if you need.
There's a bent blade
visual
over
aids.
there and a sheared pin right here, in case you guys were gonna turn this down, that they wanted me to show you.
I want to see it just for fun.
It's over there in the corner, I'm not gonna carry that up to
There's
the.
a
Back by the door.
blade back in the corner.
That's a wear blade that,
And-
got bent by a manhole last year, and those are not cheap. We are getting a new plow truck, I hope, hopefully. And
He never wants his money.
manholes tend to rise up and down with Minnesota winters, over time. So a lot of this is adjusting
This solid piece of metal.
manholes and doing like patch repair around the manholes when they're done adjusting the height.
Being that this is a already budgeted for item, I'm comfortable with going forward and approving it. I would, of course, prefer the cheaper bid.
I don't care what bid you go for, I would agree with you. I mean, they both seem like reputable companies.
You said there was a 3rd one?
There was, they pulled their bid because of, they feel they're not getting paid for some of their project work they did in town. It was a company that did some of our work last year.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
Hey, Steve.
So I'm looking for you guys to approve one of these 2 bids tonight so we can get them in here and hopefully get it done by October.
I'll make a motion to approve, bid number 1 from Midman and Fabi Construction for a total of $59,010.
Second. Further discussion? Bobby. They'll care. I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
aye.
Ms. Otto?
I,
Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-4-0. God dang it.
Still only 4 of us.
Mayor, Council, line item number 2 is, we recently are in the middle of pulling our 2 city signs on the east and west side of town. I can't specifically say who told me to do these improvements on the signs, but I know it's been asked of me to get these things looking nice. It was within my spending authority to get them repainted. So far, we're done with one of them. The other one's getting repainted hopefully here in the next couple weeks. As we were out there, we think Public Works feels that they need to be landscaped around. So on the west side, we pulled everything out because I don't agree with planting trees around city signs and shrubs that you have to keep maintaining. And half of them were dead anyway. Unfortunately, there's not a line item budget for this type of work because those city signs are not, like, I don't know where you'd put them. Me and Michael talked about this, they probably should be put under street signs, under the street department. But there's been no like line item for these city signs. So no, this hasn't been budgeted for. I would like you guys to consider, I got 2 quotes here. One from Stone Edge, which the city has used before for other projects. And the other one was from Kelly Hulting, Hulting Landscaping. Pretty much it's an oval circle around it made out of rock boulders. They both recommended using rock boulders because they last longer than retaining wall block themselves. If you don't consider doing it this year, I would like you to consider at least putting it on the budget for next year. But both these landscaping companies are willing to do it this year. Hopefully they can squeeze it in. It's just something I figured I'd bring to council tonight. Get your guys' thoughts.
I'd feel more comfortable with doing it next year and budgeting for it, but where would this come out of the budget if we were to approve?
We'd have
this
to
year?
add, we'd have to add a line item to the budget.
Be under streets at a landscape, we have a landscaping budget under Park and Rec for landscape, wood chips and whatnot around the parks. We would just add a similar line item under streets. I guess the consideration of whether or not to add a specific line item, it would be either to add it next year and then what would be are we gonna have a recurring annual landscaping budget for streets? Are there other items around the city that streets would need to spend money on landscaping, or is it more of is that just street maintenance? Is that something we could just add to the street maintenance budget and consider the landscaping part of street maintenance? So that's just, if we're gonna add a line item, whether it's if it's a one-time spend, then maybe it should just be an increased budget for something that exists.
So going back to what Michael said, if you go to street repair and maintenance, you spent $59,000 out of $100,000 tonight that you guys just did. So there's money there. If you feel to throw it underneath that.
If we were to do it now and get it landscaped now, it would be ready then to go in the spring for planting.
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing is, it's a 20-foot by 10 to 12-foot oval. We plan on filling it with black dirt and putting river rock as a base. And if you have the people that plant the pots on 12 want to go plant, I would suggest flowers in them. Nothing that grows and bushes out and then dies. But that's available for whoever wants to do that. Because let's be honest, I don't know if anybody here has looked at them lately. They didn't look that great, so.
I mean, I just see the sign when I drive by. I don't really look at what's decorated around it, but.
Oh, it's hideous.
I would say the one on the east side is worse than the west. The west side got repainting and it is back up. I think they did a very good job on it. Thank you, sign man out of Buffalo.
Are you gonna get the other sign repainted this year?
He just doesn't want it now. He's busy doing signs for like Gearhead Days and I think that's what he said, so on. Takes up a lot of shop space, but he said he'll take it in the next couple of weeks. That is under council allowance, so I just had it done. My 3,000 allowable spending limit. This is not. And like Michael said, I don't know if you'd add a line item for this next year, because how often are you really gonna stick money into landscaping these signs? Hopefully, one time, if this boulder wall works out right. I mean, it could come out of the street repair and maintenance fund.
I think since you've already got the signs painted and stuff's going on out there, that we just proceed and get it done.
Which bid would you prefer?
So taking that case then, I would just have you guys allow me to a certain dollar amount. I mean, I wanna use the $9,000 guy. But I believe Stone Edge, and I was on a funeral leave today, he wanted me to call them. I think he's willing to match the other bid. And being as we've used Stone Edge before, I would like to use them again, but just give me a dollar amount if you do approve this.
Okay, I'll make a motion then to allow you, Dan, to proceed with this, not to exceed $10,000. That work? That way we can still meet in the middle.
I'll second it.
Further discussion. I'm struggling with whether or not this is a need or if this is just something that we want to have as aesthetically pleasing. I guess that's where I'm at.
I agree with you, it's not a need, but if we are looking at, approving the development outside of town, and we've got stuff going out on the north side of town, we want to attract and draw people, because honestly, I see that sign out on the east side, like 3-4 times a day, and I'm like, oh, it's horrible. And if we're making small improvements here in town, it's a little thing for $10,000.
I can see that, I just, I mean, and I get that, I'm gonna go there, but guy and girl brains are different when it comes to that stuff. I drive by, I see a sign that says, welcome to Montrose, and I'm like, all right, I either see the sign or I see the lights of CCC and I know I'm home. But I don't look for all of the other stuff.
But actually, if you look at that sign outside of town, you can't really see welcome to Montrose because of the hideous bushes that are around it.
I said, or the lights.
Okay.
There was kind of a reason I left that east one up. We did the west one first.
Yeah, it's, thanks.
Bad.
But eyesore, but.
But again, it's your guys' decision. Yeah.
And I don't think we've ever done anything out there.
No, originally, finding those signs were installed in 2006. They haven't been touched since. They were originally supposed to get landscaped around, but they did that, they just planted trees and shrubs and around them. As far as, with that project with the pots and everything on Highway 12 years ago, I forget what was Highway 12 corridor improvements, but that line item budget is gone. So it's pretty much a maintenance thing, if you ask me. And they do represent your town on Highway 12 coming in from the east and west.
And the proposed improvements are also to limit how much maintenance you need, correct?
Right, I mean, these improvements limit us spending time out there, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah, and can I say something about the river route? If you put mulch down instead of rock, whatever plants you have out there will get better water because the mulch will retain water to give it to the plants, the bottom doesn't run off. And you can get free mulch from tree guys.
Well, the reason why we're gonna go with rock in the first place is I don't see a group volunteering to do this right away, so I
I'll
don't
bet you
know.
I can find you a group.
I mean, I can get it quartered, I could probably save money if we go with mulch, and then now we're replacing mulch every year out there.
But you can get that for free from, like, the tree company that cut down the trees. Lily's got a big, massive thing, and nobody's walking up to that mulch club.
Yeah, they would donate every year. I know, because I get from them, but.
It could be changed, I guess I'm just asking for a dollar. My main concern is the boulder roll, the oval thing around it. We can work on particulars later. Try to cut some money off of this. That's why I'm asking for a dollar amount, not just to approve one of these bids.
You said up to 10,000?
Yes.
Any other discussion? Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Ms. Andrea?
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Mayor and council, it's that time of year again, page 81 in the council packet. We got this email from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources requiring us to start implementing our water supply plan for drought season. We're in phase 2, I believe, which requires us, if you look at page, I kind of broke it down, 83, what we need to get to. And in summary, we need to cut 113,000 gallons a day off our water usage, our water pumpage out of our wells, to be in correspondence with this email from the DNR. The highlighted areas on page 81 is, we have taken those measures. And we do have a water supply plan on page 82, which is pretty basic, but it says meet with large water users to discuss users contingency plan. Talking with Christie and looking at our large users, of course, here we go. Page 84, the associations, irrigation systems. That total, 2,348,605 is what they use in the month of July alone to water grass between those 5 associations. What we're going to do, and this is just informational, this is going to happen. We're going to call them to ask them to shut off all our irrigations until the droughting ban is lifted. But how fair is this now? My question is, we make them shut off, that means everybody with sprinkler systems at their homes should be not watering also. It should be a complete ban. Correct? I mean, do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
When you say complete ban, is that just water?
Watering your grass.
Yards, not vegetation?
Vegetable gardens are
That,
okay.
we can't hold them back from watering food.
Yeah, vegetable gardens would be an exception.
That's almost over anyway.
So, I mean, hopefully we can get down to that 113,000 gallons daily. Again, you guys might recall, this is why I don't suggest allowing irrigations in the city of Montrose. Because I think this is going to be a yearly, every year occurrence, and it's only going to get worse. So that's the plan moving forward. We're going to give these guys a call. I just wanted to make it public tonight. Not saying they're going to respect our wishes. Hopefully they do.
So are you or are you not going to put in a watering ban?
Yes, full watering ban on all irrigations. Yes.
Do you want a motion for that?
Yes, I would like you guys to approve that.
For how long, Danny?
Until we're down below the 113,000 a day, which I don't know how long that'll take.
Does this include people watering new grass? It's a question that we'll get.
I know, but what do you consider new grass? I mean,
Well, like the stuff that was seeded in the project or new sod out in the LGI, I mean. if there's-
LGI, I mean.
If
they've
there's
been-
any brand new homes that are, I think they're all built out, yeah.
Yes, I mean,
But like,
if it's established, I mean, there's a fine line there. LGI, I mean, that's green as green can be out there. There's no sod lines anymore.
the project area,
To me, that's established.
yeah.
Right. Project area, I guess, it's gonna have to be on code enforcement's. Whoever's gonna code enforce this, your call, what you consider established grass. We all hate doing this, but this is DNR is enforcing us to do this. What is established grass? I don't know.
When we went to the every other day ban, the calls that I got from people were about vegetable gardens and then new sod, so the message to them was vegetable gardens, they could do it, new sod, it was, yes, you can do it, like, be mindful of it, don't turn it on and go, like, measure it, make sure that you're being cautious of it, but if they invest the money into the sod, it's hard to say now, 3 months later, if you have to let it die.
Well,
So it's being reasonable.
I agree with that. I would say any sod or seeding done in the last 6 months would be new to me. That means LGI would have to shut down out there. 'cause that was all sodded last year. There's a couple homes going in there now, but it's only 2.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah, there's.
Right,
two.
now though, they'd be able to loud it there, but that's all hooked to the same irrigation though, there you go. I mean,
I think the solder seeding in the past 6 months is,
this is always the fun part, right? I mean, we were at it every other day, now we're at a full ban.
Okay. I'll make a motion to put on a full watering ban until we get below the daily average usage of 253,055 gallons per day.
I will second.
Further discussion?
When would this go into effect, Dan?
Today,
Tomorrow.
Today, tomorrow?
tomorrow morning.
Immediately.
yeah, immediately.
Are you gonna put that like on city page and all that kind of stuff?
I don't, yeah, I mean, we,
Christine?
And the bank sign, yeah.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do with the city's webpage, but yeah,
Okay, any other discussion? I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
I,
Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Old business.
Mayor and council, we met with 2 developers that have put in proposals for the preserve development on July 10th. Had questions with them, had a kind of a workshop with them. And the EDA and planning and zoning have also looked at these proposals. And then tonight, if you are ready to make a decision, that's what this resolution is here for.
There is one of them that I prefer more than the other, but I do not believe that they had all of the details and all of the plans and all of the information necessary for us to commit to doing the project with them. And then I think the other one, they have a history with that property, they know what to expect, they already factored in the numbers that it's gonna take to fix it up and to do all of it, and they have their exact layout that they want to use. And I think based on those 2 things, even though I like the other one better, I would prefer to go with J.P. Brooks, personally.
I agree. I think Brooks understands the, what's needed out there infrastructure-wise. The plans look good. I do think, Briggs is somebody we should continue discussions with for other development areas. So I think he
Got the
has some
potential.
great ideas and great potential, so I don't wanna shut him out from further work there, but I do agree that J.P. Brooks would be the correct choice for this one.
and they planned on starting even this year, right? Getting things going. They had.
They would start some stuff this fall, and then they would plan to redo the infrastructure in the spring, and then hopefully break ground by next fall, I think. Is that right?
At least by then, I would say. They are working with an already approved plat, so it would just be a matter of kind of some design and small approvals run out, so.
Because they actually had the timeline, what their plans were, so, yeah.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-24, a resolution selecting J.P. Brooks as for the Preserve of Montrose development.
I'll second.
Oh, go ahead.
We got 3 seconds on that one. Further discussion?
Not 5.
I'll vote aye. Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Jess, Pat Briggs is the one, right? He's actually building a laundromat out of the old Casey's in Big Lake. So maybe we should.
Yeah, I definitely think that he'd be worth working with on another project. If he wants to do an apartment building, we certainly have some areas that might be possible. Laundromat, yeah, something, you know, some
Fishing
commercial
pond
stuff.
stuff.
A fishing pond, great.
There's one in my backyard.
But yeah, I think that he would definitely be a good person to work with for potential future projects, so I don't think we should write him off completely, I agree.
New business.
Mayor and council, we had a application for an administrative subdivision. I think it was just, is it on?
Got it.
Okay. From the property owner of 520 Nelson Boulevard. I think Mr. Gritman has some more details for that.
Mr. Mayor, Council, the request here is for the ordinance calls an administrative subdivision, is to divide this property into two parcels, essentially one that would contain the existing homes, and there's actually two on the property, and the second being the bulk of the property to the south and surrounding the wetland area that the area would be about a little over 35 acres, and leaving then a portion of the property along Highway 12 to provide access to that future development to the south. This area was originally preliminary platted some years ago. It showed an access lane west of the homes, and the applicants had provided a survey that shows that. Staff's recommendation here, based on the review and input from MnDOT, as we are required to do when a subdivision abuts a state highway, is to shift that access location to the east of the two homes, make it at least 60 feet in width. And staff's recommendation then further is to retain or gain an easement for road and utility purposes over that 60-foot strip. So we can ensure that there will be road access to that southerly portion at the time it's ready for development. And not just that we have it, but that it's in an appropriate location as approved by MnDOT. So we believe that the subdivision qualifies under the city's subdivision ordinance for approval, but some modification to the access location to Highway 12, varying a little bit from their survey. We would ask the applicants and their surveyor to prepare an easement document that provides that access road and utility location. So that gets filed at the same time that they record the subdivision at the county. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, they've already got all the approvals from the state, so I don't necessarily see an issue for us to say no. With all of this, this won't cause any issues for our wastewater, correct?
At this point, it's just creating two lots. Any development on that southerly parcel would be subject to a new plat request.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2023-25, resolution of the City Council of the City of Montrose approving a subdivision for splitting a parcel into separate parcels.
A second.
Further discussion? I'll vote aye. Ms. Andrioff?
Aye.
Ms. Otto?
Aye.
Mr. Paradise?
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thanks, Steve. I got one open forum request from the Herzogs. Herzogs.
Jim Herzog, 4671 County Road 12 South. We'd like to discuss the fence that is on the west and north side of our property, which was installed back in 2017. Nothing's ever been touched on it, ever. It was supposed to have been, I think as most people know, stained or sealed of some sort within a year after it was installed. And then after that, periodically stain or whatever to put on there within a 5-year period after that first year. Nothing's ever been done. And we brought it up before and pretty much were told we're not going to do anything.
We brought it up to council in 2019. 3 council members voted not to protect the fence. Now it's rotting. It needs to be fixed.
It looks...
It makes our property look bad because it surrounds half of it. And everybody thinks it's our fence, but it's not. It's the city's fence.
It's the city fence.
You protect your waste, the lift
station.
stations. Those are beautiful. Yep. Why can't you protect that one fence that you spent a lot of money to put in and then voted not to stain it in 2019? We have a contract with the city. The city cannot just tear down the front fence. It has to be mutually agreed upon. Yep. That was signed back in 8/17. Yep. So now we're asking you to fix it. I'm not asking you to do it this year, but I would like a plan for next year on how you're going to remedy the rotten fence around us. Yep. Part of the fence is in the ground because the park side doesn't have roots to hold our soil in, so it keeps seeping out and under. That was a problem in 2017 when the Public Works Director at that time decided to spray weed killer on your side of the fence and took out any roots that would hold our dirt in.
It was quite the weed killer.
It lasted for years, and you can still see today where it won't grow.
It won't grow.
Even weeds or grass around it. So we would like to know what kind of plan you can come up with for 2024 so we are not sitting next to a rotting fence. Our yard is kept up, always. The fence doesn't help, and it's rotting.
Danny, is this something that you can get on to take a look at fixing this issue as well as reviewing the contract too?
I can review the contract. I wouldn't stick a dime into that current fence. That's my opinion.
I wouldn't either because it's rotting.
Can you bring us a solution, whether it's next month or this fall at some point, a solution for it, and then we can review it?
Well, the solution for it is how much do you want to spend? I mean, do you want me to price a fence that's like the one you got out there, wood? Do you want me to go maintenance free? I mean, it takes time to get quotes here. I would like a little direction by you guys, I guess. What kind of quotes you want me to get? You want me to get them both? I can do that too.
At this point, I would say go maintenance free.
That's what I was gonna say.
And installed professionally, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not a problem. I can't tell you how fast it'll get done, but I can call around. How many do you want?
How many quotes?
Yeah.
3,
Three.
4.
Okay,
And just,
I can do that.
you're good with sometime next year, you said, correct?
For getting it fixed, yes.
so there you go.
It's not an immediate
Yeah.
thing. I know it takes time. If it would have been voted on to Stain back in 2017, we wouldn't be standing here
I
today.
understand that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I didn't wear it for this. I had it on for this.
Thanks, Danny.
Get it?
Upcoming meetings. Park and Rec, September 5th, 6 PM, City Hall. Planning and Zoning, September 13th, 7 PM, Community Center. EDA for August has been canceled. City Council Budget Workshop, September 5th, 4 PM, City Hall. And regular City Council meeting. Really? Okay. Monday, September 11th, 7 PM, Montrose Community Center. I thought we'd move it to the day after, but acknowledgements.
It's not a holiday.
Should be a holiday.
This is gonna be kind of weird to acknowledge right now, April, actually, for doing all of the landscaping up at City Hall. All the flower work.
Second that. It looks
Oh.
nice.
Oh, did she leave already?
Yeah, she did.
Oh.
Yes.
As always, I just want to acknowledge the fire department. I think that you guys do a fantastic job, and I don't think that we can ever say that enough. So, on top of that, I also want to, he won't see the video, but acknowledge Lieutenant Workla for coming to our workshop a couple weeks ago and just taking the barrage of questions and things that we threw at him. So, and of course, the police department. No other acknowledgements. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Can I bring up one thing here? Sure. My name is Gerald Hunt. I live at 140 Center Avenue, over here across the tracks. And Robin Rozek, I don't know.
I was gonna say, are you here for Robin?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm here for Robin. Kind of for me and Robin, but I only have a small area of property where I think the grass is inadequate from the street work last year. But down in Robin's corner, I mean, it's just lousy, terrible. It looks terrible. I got pictures on here if you want to see them. And the dirt, you can see the dirt isn't good dirt. It's brown clay. It's not the dirt that we had there before, the fill dirt that they used in that particular section. So I really think that corner should be redone. It's an eyesore there. So that's what I wanted to bring up. And then there is one other thing I should mention there on the sidewalk there. There is about a little bit to the east of that corner, there is one that's kind of sunk down about an inch there. I don't know if it's enough of a hazard or not, but somebody should have a look at that. But I really think you should send somebody over there to look at that grass, and that should be redone. That dirt should be taken out and put some good stuff in.
Okay.
I did go over there and look at that, and how much of that portion, isn't that also city property?
Yeah,
Do you know how much of it?
I don't know how much, but there's a pretty wide.
It's like 20 feet?
Yeah, it's a pretty wide area there.
Yeah. And Robin, like I told you guys that Robin was gonna be here, but he's out of town. That side, that corner, the dirt that was taken out of there was nice black
Yes.
dirt. The dirt that was replaced is horrible rocky clay dirt. So I know he has been trying to maintain and get things taken care of over there because he's very particular about his yard.
Yes.
So, but again, that is partial city property that's over there. So it might be something we want to look at.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Do we need direction on that? I don't know. Dan?
Look at it.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you want Public Works and the city to pay for this out of their own money, or do you want the engineering and the crew that was there last year, the reason why they're complaining about it to do it. Because I'm pretty sure that the job is done on that side. There's no coming back. They ain't coming back to seed anything. So this would come directly out of your guys' budget.
Not to put anybody on blast, but it should come out of the engineering budget that we paid out there, because like I said, the dirt that was out there was nice black dirt. And I don't know why when we do projects here in the city, when we take out nice dirt, we replace it with not so nice, and it's full of rocks. It's the same thing that happened out at the regional park. So where all that black dirt goes, I have no idea.
I think they just put in a pile in the Carver Park there or something.
Yeah, and then it was gone. So,
They got scrapped.
yeah, I mean, it's not good dirt, but
We can go throw black dirt down and seed it. You just approve me for the money. But are we gonna water it during a watering ban? I'm like, what do you want me to do on this?
I would say he would need to water it. Yeah, I think he would be also because, like I said, he's pretty particular about his corner. But you can see that he's tried to maintain it. But he got replaced with really poor, it wasn't,
I can guarantee you they backfilled with pulverized crushed black dirt. They did. I guarantee it, but
Could you bring a load of dirt from the compost?
I would like, I would like him to come up to City Hall or call City Hall and set up a time,
And talk with you?
and we'll meet over there together and we'll come up with a game plan, I would guess. Be the best way to do it. But I want your guys' pre-approval to spend money on this.
I don't think you'll go over your spending authority on it.
Okay, so if I could stay under my spending authority, you're good with it?
I mean, it's just seeding, right? It shouldn't.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's first, I've heard of this complaint. It's funny they don't call Public Works, they just come to a council meeting, but.
All right, so we'll just have him, if he reaches out to somebody, they'll set up a time, come talk to you at City Hall.
Yeah, I hope Robin would have time to come to City Hall or call me or somebody at City Hall and set up a time to have a meeting over there with him. And if I feel that it's part of the construction project, then I don't know what to say, because I'm pretty sure those seating guys and those backfilling guys are long gone. That project, you guys approved the final payment on, I believe, and it is done.
Okay, thanks, Danny.
Yep.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.